welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I'm your host, WIZE, and I'm excited. My next guest is a national best-selling author, a quantum healing hypnotist, a mindset performance coach. Welcome to the show. Hold on. Jason Medlock. Hello.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing great, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. I like the introduction. I like everything about it. I like your intro. I was vibing it in the background, but I'm glad to be here.
When I first started podcasting, I had no clue what I was doing. So I've come a long way in my journey, and I'm just excited, man. I have so many wonderful guests coming up, and you now, so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. You know, I got about 100 and something shows, and when I first started, I was trying to figure out what I want to be and how I want to do it, and you know, you kind of keep evolving with it, and from all the experiences, you start to write books, do courses. So you can take it a lot of different directions, but I'm excited that, you know, I see somebody else like me that's doing, another brother that's out here that's just having these needed conversations.
And it's something that it's important to me. Because there's people out there, because this is not something we're taught. We're not taught about growth mindset and wanting to improve. It's not something that's taught in our community like that. So for me, it's important to be able to come out and show people like, hey, regardless of where you're from, whatever you want to learn is possible. I've come a long way in doing my podcast. I've learned how to edit video. I've developed skills that I didn't have prior to me doing this.
And if you understand what Will is saying out there, learning how to edit your own video is key, or you'll be out of a lot of money. You know, video editing and making sure the sound is right and making sure your lighting is right and the right mic. And then you, like you said a minute ago, we were talking in the background, trying to work with Canva and making sure your graphics look good. A whole lot goes into it. But then when you have that level of determination, when you start to set your intentions on exactly what you want. It's the same thing when I'm mindset coaching. It's the same thing when I'm speaking to clients when we're trying to achieve a certain goal using quantum hypnosis. It's the same thing in meditation. When you start to set your intentions on what you want, amazingly, we figure out how to do it. And we figure out with precision. And we get better and better and better. We create new neural pathways in the mind and the brain, and replace the old, my sister calls it stinking thinking. But yeah, it's amazing.
So how did your journey lead you to become a quantum healing hypnotist?
Listen, I can start back to when I was 7, 8, 9 years old at church, just at church. I'm a Methodist. I believe in God, and just playing with toys, sitting in the church pew. My mother looking at me, telling me you better be still, just not trying to figure out what else was there besides sitting up, standing, sitting down, standing up, sitting down, past the money tray. Of course, you know who God is, but as a young boy, you just trying to figure out where is he though? I haven't seen him lately. But my mom would say he's inside of you. He's all around us. And yeah, okay. But just over the years, learning, about, what God means to everybody, what it means to me, then growing into college. And now you're more, adept to everything around you, all the hustle and bustle of life, and you sort of, that kind of takes a back seat to the present day of what's going on every day. I was a college athlete in training in school, and it just took my sister to keep me on track. And she would teach me how to say the affirmations of faith every day, which I sort of found out later that was really metaphysics. It was more like the law of attraction. It was more like manifesting, but she was teaching me how to say my affirmations of faith every day on exactly what I wanted out of school and what I wanted out of football and all that stuff. And all the things she was teaching me, it started to work. And I was student athlete of the week several weeks my senior year, set a school record, in tackles at UNLV. I was a former athlete at UNLV. And it was all because she was teaching me how to have these strong affirmations. And then later in life, when I got through playing ball, she showed me a documentary called The Secret. And The Secret talked about metaphysics, talked about the law of attraction, talked about meditation and how you can, if you really, really want to, anything you want in life, you can pull it towards you just by setting your intentions and using vision boards and writing it down and commanding these things happen. And I started to use The Secret in my 30s, late 20s, 30s. I'm like, this stuff works. It was working for me, Will. I'm like, man, what is metaphysics? How am I able to pull these things toward me? People, opportunity. And then from that, I started to watch The Secret biannually just to really, really learn all the techniques that they were teaching in this documentary. And then by the time, I kept progressing just with my regular business life, and I was married with kids. And, as life moved on, COVID-19 happened. And for everyone, the people who I know at least, everything slowed down. We were locked in, at home every day, travel restrictions. And I just felt this draw to start reading, start researching. And I became a meditator, a transcendental meditator, TM. And I was meditating. I was trying to do some stuff now. I was trying to have an out of body experience. I was trying to learn about, I was reading all these kind of books. Like, why am I reading these books? And the knowledge that I was thirsty for, that I was just trying to get more of, was leading me to a path of quantum healing hypnosis. And I'm going to explain how. As I was reading these books of out of body experiences and all the people who've had these near death experiences, I'm wondering, like, I mean, what is it like to leave your body? I mean, if you can leave your body, I mean, okay, you actually can see outside the body. It was very interesting. I was very interested in that. And so I stumbled upon how to actually induce it myself. I'm laying in the bed and I'm trying this for several weeks, and it was not working. And I remember Dr. Bob Monroe, a few of his books I've read, one of them is Far Journeys. He would always talk about the patience and the calmness you needed in your body. And, that's when I started to learn how to meditate so I can get that patience and that calmness in my body. And once I was able to achieve that, then I was one day watching YouTube. There's nothing special about this. Watching YouTube, trying to reach the Akashic records, which is the vibratory records of every life that any human has ever lived, in the history of this particular human and everything. So I'm listening to a meditation on YouTube, and all of a sudden I pop out and I'm on the ceiling looking down. But I guess the question was, how'd you get into quantum healing hypnosis? Well, from that experience, I'm like, whoa, okay. I went through all the protocols on what you should do if you have an out of body experience so that you know that it was a real experience. So I went through the protocols that were outlined in Bob Monroe's book. And even in my book, Empowered by Consciousness, I write about this experience. And but one thing that kept ringing true was, there's another me, outside of this body. There's this higher self, this higher being, this subconscious mind, this Christ spirit within me, which I already knew, but didn't know it at that level. So I started to study different things that dealt with the mind, the subconscious mind. And I became a remote viewer. I became an associate remote viewer. I started to practice energy healing because I had a spiritual teacher at this point, because I'm like, whoa, I left my body. Let me go find somebody who can help me. Someone then got a spiritual teacher who started to teach me all these different things that I needed to understand about the mind and how we can move ourselves to different levels of consciousness. And the readings I was partaking in and the training I was getting from my spiritual teacher led me to Dolores Cannon. And everybody knows who Dolores Cannon is, the older white lady. She's passed away, bless her heart, with the white hair, who's all over YouTube, talking about her interactions with different beings and how she regresses people that were her clients using quantum healing hypnosis. So I started to really get interested in hypnosis because it was another way to move the mind, move the brain into different brainwave states. You can do this by meditating. You can do this by yoga. You can do this even by prayer. You can move and shift from different levels, different brainwave states. So I got into Dolores Cannon to understand the quantum healing hypnosis technique that she used. And from there, I've been able to apply that particular hypnosis technique to a number of different genres, athletes, business owners, average everyday people, in any kind of profession, whether it's, dealing with trauma, PTSD, any problem that a person's having. I'm able to use a past life regression technique within quantum healing hypnosis to figure out where the issues are in a person's life. And this is amazing. It's amazing. We could spend the whole show on that one topic, but I want to kind of build up to how I got into quantum healing hypnosis. And I use it a lot of different ways now, Will, but that's sort of the story.
So you mentioned your book. So can you share what inspired you to what's the inspiration behind your book, Empowered by Consciousness?
Well, the inspiration of writing the Empowered by Consciousness is simple. Where you came from and where I came from, a lot of the stuff I just talked about sounds like woo woo. Like, what is he talking about? So writing,
no, it's true. It's true because even when The Secret came out and people started, they're like, "Oh, this is a hoax," and all this other stuff, because they're talking, because they're feeling that, oh, if I could think it, I can make it pop in, and that's not the case. You have to put action behind it, and you have to really work on yourself so you can really start, because we're talking about years of programming that we're going through, we're undoing, and so in order to really when you start talking about stuff like, yes, like you said, people start like, whoa, this is hokey and all that. But no, the law of attraction does work. These things, when you start really applying it the proper way, and you start just really believe, like, for me, there's so many opportunities that have arisen from it. For it, so many things that with my podcast and everything, I've seen it happen. And
well, the thing about
yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead.
But the thing about it is we're not taught this in high school. We're not taught
Mhm.
this in junior high or college. But in the West, it's more Bible driven, more Christianity. In the East, it's more spirituality. It's more using your mind. It's more meditation. It's more being within yourself. And it almost seems like that, yeah, it's woo woo when, people of color in the West are hearing these concepts, but it's all about just practicing. If you practice meditation twice a day, every day, and if you're doing it for a month, 2, 3 months, I guarantee you your focus will be much better. The clarity in which the way you see things will be much better. You will lower your blood pressure, you lower your cholesterol, because there's a sense of control of the body. There's a sense of connection with the body. And from that, meditation is the foundation to use any of these spiritual modalities that are out there. But I wrote the book Empowered by Consciousness to demystify these concepts. And that's simple. I wanted to show people in layman's terms, let me write about this in a way that makes it not afraid, not threatening to you, but it's just information. I write about topics like the subconscious mind, out of body experience, astral projection, remote viewing, uh, hypnosis, meditation. Those are just some of the chapters that are in the book, and I demystify all these things that you thought you heard, and I'm backing it all up with research. And then I give you my personal experience on exactly what happened to me and how I was able to recreate what I read in other books and what I was taught through my spiritual teacher. I've been in hypnosis sessions where I've regressed a young lady, and throughout the sessions, I'm moving her to different lifetimes that she's lived. And she's each lifetime I move her to, her voice changes. She becomes the person in that lifetime. And after and we're searching for information to help her in this current lifetime, deal with a disease that she was dealing with. And after I was finished with all those lifetimes, I then asked her subconscious, is there anything or anyone else that would like to say anything to this young lady? And then she kind of moves and she shakes a little bit. Then the voice of her grandmother comes out and starts to talk to her while she's in this trance with a Creole type, Creole twist. And she was in character. The voice made the woman that was in the trance in character, just like the grandmother. So I record all my sessions by audio, and I record them by video. And when I play them back for the client, they're shocked. They can't believe what they're hearing. But all these different modalities I write about in my book, Empowered by Consciousness, are based on personal experiences. And they're based on different modalities that I actually researched, then spent time trying to experience exactly what it is to experience this particular modality, and then showing people how I did it. And I think it's one of the most practical books out there that will open your eyes to the powers that God has given us. This has nothing to do with religion. Zero. This is all about understanding the capabilities that we have as humans in these avatars. We're brilliant spirits made of light and sound. And we are here on earth incarnated to learn. And we are here also to co-create, because we are creators. We are splinters of God's life force within these bodies. Energy within these bodies is a spirit, multidimensional being. So that's why I wrote the book, just to help people move themselves away from this, oh, I don't know what that is, to really, because I've had several people, and one group in particular, a group of women that are in California, had a book club meeting, and more than half of them in the book club talked about how easy the book was to read, and they knew it was some complex topics, but they were like, it was so easy to understand. So that's why I wrote it.
Okay. Um, so what role does spiritual modalities play in personal development and achieving success?
Well, spirituality plays a huge role in personal development because, like I said a minute ago, meditation helps you become a better, become better at your thought process, and be clear on exactly what you want out of life. And also, meditation helps you just look at the big picture and make better decisions. Spirituality in a whole, using different techniques in spirituality. For instance, again, even psychedelics is another mushroom, obviously, psilocybin within this mushroom. When you microdose it, if you're on PTSD, it helps you control PTSD. Meditation is another modality. Mindfulness is another modality. Being mindful will, and people always may come on your show, as long as you're mindful and practice mindfulness, this helps you in your personal development. But what is mindfulness? What is it? Being mindful is having gratitude for the breath that you breathe, and being mindful that the breath is intelligent, and that when you breathe in and you breathe out, you can feel the breath on the nose. You're mindful of what the breath feels like, closing your eyes and listening to the furthest thing from you for about 3 or 4 seconds and focus. And then closing your eyes again and listening to the closest thing near you. And that takes that concentration. That's being mindful. Driving down the street and grabbing the steering wheel and actually feeling the ridges. You're mindful of the ridges in the steering wheel. I'm being practical with this, but mindfulness is all about noticing every little thing around you, paying attention to it, and being grateful and having gratitude. This carries you a long way in personal development. Meditation carries you a long way in your personal development. Being able to use self hypnosis, which is another modality, reprogramming the mind with self hypnosis helps you a long way with your personal development, because you can use hypnosis to reprogram your mind to learn Spanish, to become a better banker, to multiplication, sales, being motivated to make 100 calls per week when you were only making 15 or 20 calls per week. Those things can be reprogrammed into your mind. You can create new neural pathways in the mind by reaching the theta brainwave state, which is the state of focus, the state of concentration. And it's also a relaxed state that hypnotherapists like to work in. So using these spiritual modalities, spirituality can significantly help a person with their personal development, and actually can also help you with your personal life, with things that you're dealing with, anything stressful, anything that creates a level of discomfort, with the mind, any sort of habits, uh, any sort of phobias that you may have, can all be handled using different techniques within spirituality.
So, excuse me. How can individuals tap into their subconscious mind to unlock their potential, their true potential?
Using meditation. And some people may say, well, I don't like to meditate. Using prayer, using yoga, using whatever modality that you're comfortable with. And let's give an example of how you can do that. And let's say I'm going to use meditation. And once you get past the first 3 or 4 minutes, people may say, I'm just thinking about everything that's happening in my day. It's so hard for me to just get comfortable. That's okay. That is perfectly fine. Let the noise from the outside be. Because what you don't realize is the more you sit in peace and quiet with no interruptions, no cell phone, no one in the room, the more you think about the job and the horrible manager and the fight you had with your wife and the bills that are due, you're releasing stress. So let the noise happen, and then figure out a 2-word mantra. It could be love, peace. Okay, just making that up. But continue with this peace, this quiet. And then if the noise can persist, which it will die out, you can use your mantra over and over: love, peace, love, peace, love, peace. You're saying this internally. And once the body has gotten to this threshold where there's really nothing but you and quietness, the deeper you go, the more opportunity you have to connect with the subconscious mind. I learned this technique when I was practicing to be a remote viewer. And in remote viewing, we uncover different characteristics of unknown objects, unknown to us as the remote viewer. And we describe them. Well, how do you do that? The subconscious mind knows everything about you, knows exactly how many lives you've lived, every detail about those lives. It protects you. It gives you, it knows everything you did, everything you will do, everything that has already happened. And that's the subconscious mind. Now, when we are remote viewing, we use the subconscious mind in the process to help us to identify what object we're looking for. We're only getting 4-digit numbers to go off of. When you're a remote viewer, you're given 4 numbers, 3745. The person who's doing the session will give you these 4-digit codes. And from that, you write an ideogram. It's a quick little squiggly line. And from that little squiggly line, you touch it with a pen or you touch it with your finger. And every time you touch it, bits of information come to you, subconscious. And just like that, within 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds, you get a visual on the information. Now, the subconscious mind knows everything. The conscious mind is us every day, working, talking to our friends. When you are able to differentiate between the conscious mind talking and your subconscious mind speaking, and the only way you can do that is spend numerous hours by yourself, prayer, meditation. So it's almost like hearing God speak to you or you running the show. You're into an argument at the movie theater, and this guy pulled in a parking spot, and your first mind says, leave that alone, just find you another spot. Then seconds later, you flipping them off, you cussing, you pulling, you stopping the car, wanting to do something. The conscious mind took over. So there is a difference, Will, between the conscious mind thinking and subconscious mind. So how do you connect with the subconscious mind? Is spend a lot of time with yourself, practicing hearing, listening to that first message you get. That's the subconscious mind. And the more you do it over and over, you can get the differentiation between who's speaking to me, God speaking to me, or am I running the show? And what I try to do, the way I try to live my life, is subconsciously. So the conscious mind is here, the subconscious mind is here. This is the way most of us are, unless we practice suppressing the conscious mind, which is our forward thinking, our brassness, wanting to, just jump into conclusions, jumping too fast. And I try to move it down to where they're about parallel, so I can hear God, so to speak. I can hear my subconscious. I can hear my higher self say, this job is not a good job for you. Keep moving and you will find the right job. And then versus getting mad, they didn't hire me, I was the best candidate. Yeah, but listen to yourself, listen to your subconscious. It's really telling you it wasn't a good job for you. And that's just an example of how you can connect, or not how you can connect, but how to connect the subconscious mind, and the examples of the way you can use it.
So well, you already told us some techniques they can apply. How can you define, how do you define empowerment, and how can individuals cultivate it in their own lives?
How do I define empowerment?
Empowerment, yes.
Empowerment is defined simply by a person taking control, of any situation that they want by just filling themselves with knowledge, empowering yourself. You have to be able to go out and seek the information you need for your situation so that you can be empowered to change anything you want in your life. You know what I mean? So, a number of people call me, Will, and I'm trying to lose weight, or I want to speak to, my mom and get advice, or, I cannot stand the way I treat my wife. And in my mind, I be wanting to hit her sometimes. And so they'll come see me. And when I start talking to them, it's typically somebody else's fault. Until that person self realizes, until that person can really understand the things that are happening around them and sort of see what their role is, anything I do for you will not work. So you have to go empower yourself to be able to make that change. It may be prayer, it may be reading a book on anxiety, on depression. It may be, finally you've gotten into it with your boss one too many times, or your wife one too many times, and something just snapped inside of you and say, you can't do this anymore. And once you come to that self-realization, you know, and you become empowered to make that phone call and to have then the conversation with the person who can guide you, the person who can then show you ways to get past these um these moments in your life that are holding you back. So empowering yourself with that ability requires, in my opinion, it requires you to do a lot of self-realization work so that you can take advantage of all the tools that are out there to help you grow and to help you be the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, can you discuss the concept of conscious creation and its significance in shaping our reality?
Consciousness is not local. Consciousness is beamed in from a higher place. And conscious creation, when you think about it, consciousness is everywhere. It's all around us. um, you know the planet, even Earth, they call it Mother Gaia, has consciousness. This planet emits a frequency, a sound, a vibration, and I wonder who else does that. Humans, animals, we all have vibrations and sounds that we emit. Everything is living. The rock on the ground, the dirt, because everything is energy. And consciousness is everywhere, Will. The level of consciousness could be in question, but everything is living. Everything is energy. And consciousness, the creation of consciousness is from source. And whatever it is, he this field of information, this ability to think every day, the ability to ask questions, makes you a conscious, sentient individual in the being. But where are you getting this information from? Oh, I can see it right here. It's right here on this sheet of paper. But how do you formulate this? I mean, how are you able to even get it typed down? Because all this information is not in your brain. You may think it is. The brain is just a storage tank for a memory. But the actual waking up and thinking process every day is consciousness that's being done from source. And imagine that source. And I say source a lot. I mean God, Buddha, you know, Jah, whatever religion the person wants to relate the higher being to. I just say source because I think that's the center of all creation, which is God. But whatever this entire galaxy, this whole field of consciousness is coming from one being, and everyone is experiencing it. Everyone is experiencing it at the same time, in every different in all dimensions. And what was the last part of your question?
Uh, and okay. And its significance and how. Wait, what was it? Hold on. Can you discuss the concept of conscious creation and its significance in shaping our reality?
Yeah, and it shapes your reality. The way you perceive. Our perception is consciousness, and all the things that I mentioned shapes your paradigm. When you are a little boy, and let's say you're living in the project, I mean, that's your reality. That's your construct. That's what you see. That's the experiences that you have. And consciousness is the experience. It's actually knowing that I am, and that I have hands. I can recognize, I can see, I can understand, I can hear. And whatever the closest reality that's around you is what you experience. You have a different experience than I do. Your construct, wherever you are, is different. Your eyes see different things. You hear different things every day. I have a different reality than you do. So the way I perceive life, the way I perceive my surroundings shapes my reality every day. I don't think there's one thing in life that I cannot do. And I teach my clients this when I'm doing mindset performance training. But if you have doubt, I can't run a full 440, man. I mean, I'm a big dude. I'm probably gonna get a 4.6. Where'd you get that from? Probably because the people that are in your sphere, that's the thought process that goes on all day, every day. And that's what you're subjected to. That construct of consciousness. So it shapes your reality. Not wanting to go to work. Somebody in your life has built this construct where you have been a part of that reality, and that's what you see. So consciousness and the way you observe it and what you experience definitely shapes your reality on who you are. And again, I don't think that there's anything that I cannot do, but that's the space of where I put myself around all high vibrating, positive words, growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset can only go so far. And then it's there and it's fixed on this certain level of growth. But a growth mindset is hungry and it always looks for different ways to be better, to learn, to continue to elevate. So yeah, man, that creating consciousness and then experiencing it, very, very important.
So, what advice do you have for those seeking to align with their desired life path? Because for me, right, it took me till I was 44 years old to find my purpose, to find what was my path, and how for me it was getting back into self development, getting back into developing my mindset and everything. And when I started doing that, all this started happening. Podcasts, me wanting to help people, me wanting to make an impact and show people, listen, a kid from Brooklyn that I'm a regular guy, but look at the things that I'm able to do. I have a top 5% podcast. I didn't when I started this, I didn't have a clue about podcasting. I didn't know
Right.
anything. But it was me wanting to grow and learn and develop that helped me build this, that helped all these started attracting the right guest. Started you mentioned The Secret. I had Bob Doyle on my show. He was one of the contributing factors to The Secret. To have him on my show was impactful for me because, like you, The Secret had played an impact on my life. Like
Yes.
you, I watch it every so often, every couple of years. I watch it because sometimes you need to get that refresh. You need to get back into what started you. So for me, to actually have someone who contributed to something that had played a major part in my life, it was like I was like amazed that I was able to sit down and interview him.
Well, what I say to that is some practical things you can do to get yourself in a position to where you can start having success in your life. Number one, you have to spend time with you, within yourself. And again, I won't name all the different ways, but I suggest that you spend time meditating because without a center, without a place to go and move yourself into a peaceful place, then all the hustle and bustle and chaos of the world will keep you preoccupied from your goals, from your aspirations. So get centered and use meditation to do that. That's the first thing. The second thing is to become more mindful, more caring, more showing more gratitude for the water you drink, for the food, gratitude for the life and the breath and the air and everything around you. Become more mindful helps you have a clear thought process, helps you appreciate things more, and gives you this level of accomplishment within yourself. Number 3, journal. Start writing down exactly what you want. Start to set your intentions on what it is you want to be and how you want to achieve it. So journaling is very important, and setting intentions is very important. And then the last thing, start manifesting. Use the 333 technique. Use the 555-777 technique. Use the 369 Tesla technique. It's on YouTube. I have it in my book. The water alchemy technique. I have that in my book. The 333 technique. You write down 3 things that you want. You say them 3 times each, 3 times a day, 3 days in a row. 555-777. Those are really quick manifestation techniques. Start manifesting what you want. Start speaking it, speaking it, speaking it. Because the more you speak it, it's almost like hypnotizing yourself. You're creating these new neural pathways in the brain. You're moving out old ways of thinking and introducing new concepts. And the body and the mind hears you, the subconscious, when it knows that you want certain things, it will figure out how to get it for you. Your spirit guides will hear you talking. They will figure out how to move you in that direction, but you have to set your intentions. So those are some practical things you can do to start to move yourself, move your life in a different pathway, on a different pathway.
Wow, I got goosebumps because listening to you speak and everything, and then reflecting on everything that I've been through and everything. It's just amazing that when you do apply when you do start applying these things, and you start working on yourself, and start to really, like with me, I've really been focusing on building a better relationship with myself,
Mm-hmm.
and and one of the main things is self-talk, talking to myself, saying like, "B- we can be cruel to ourselves. We can say some real harmful things to ourselves, and that's something that I changed, and it's made a difference. I'm realizing that I'm growing, I'm learning more, and it starts with me, and talking to myself early in the morning when I wake up.
People don't realize how powerful positive self-talk is, or negative self-talk. When you speak to the body listens. This is a living avatar. We're spirits that inhabit it, but the human body is absolutely, positively can hear you speak. You can talk yourself into being sick. You can talk yourself into not being sick. A quote from Dolores Cannon: "We should never be sick. We should never be sick." We talk ourselves into being sick. The only reason why we're sick is because we think we're sick. And whatever you think, so shall it be.
Mhm.
So if your level of thinking is all about breaking into the top 3 podcasts, seeking sponsorship, and then setting up a situation where now you're coaching people on how to reach that level, those are your thoughts. They're in the universe. They're in what we call Christ consciousness now. This idea, this thought, but it's been thought of before. If you do all those things with meditation, mindfulness, being thoughtful, journaling, setting your intentions, your vibration starts to elevate. You're now on a higher frequency, the frequency of Christ consciousness. That's when you hear people talk about, I got downloads and I was downloading information. I was able to put together a packet And I sat down with Bank of America and it gave me the money. And I was just writing. I don't know where the information came from. It was a download because all of everything that we speak goes into the universe at light speed. And it's in Christ consciousness. It's like a big memory bank of all these thoughts. And if you are at the right vibration, you can't be some jerk and think that you're going to pull down information from Christ consciousness. You have to vibrate and be able to be at that frequency to get downloads. Now, you can be at a frequency at a low frequency and download a lot of trauma, a lot of nonsense. But if that's what you want, so be it. That's what you will get.
Mm-hmm.
So that you get this information and you're able to then move on it. And that's what people mean when they talk about downloads, as long as it's for the greater good of all. And when you become creative and you become successful, you always center everything that you want will around the greater good of all. You'll get it. You absolutely get it. And I have mindset coaching programs that I have a 7-week boot camp, a mindset boot camp, and a 12-week boot camp. And this is all geared around everything I've learned in consciousness and how to reprogram the mind and how to use hypnosis to move a client into a certain brainwave state and start to then give it suggestions over and over. I am rich. I am rich in everything I need. I will learn how to speak Spanish. I will make 150 calls per week on my new sales job. I can run a 4-4-40. When I run my route and I get to the 15-yard line, I will whip my head around and my hands will be ready to catch the football. I will make that putt. Working with business people and athletes, everyday people, it's about consistency. It's about continuing to reprogram the subconscious mind while in a certain brainwave state. That's why athletes train in the theta brainwave state. They play football in the theta brainwave state. You're doing your podcast with a level of focus. Right now, you're in the theta brainwave state. The theta brainwave state is where we can make changes and where you can read, you're learning, you're in class. You always wonder, well, when I'm in class, I'm focused. Yes, because you've changed the level of brainwave state. And that's what I do when I work with my clients with mindset coaching, is to rebuild them from ground zero. Tell me exactly what it is you want. And once we can find that out, okay, now what's stopping you? We get all those things. Now we may have to do some healing work. We have to remove some blockages, some daddy drama, childhood drama, anger, anything that is blocking you from from achieving exactly what it is that you want. And once that's able to be removed, then we start to reprogram the mind for success in every phase that the client is looking for, using different techniques, spiritual modalities, I ams, which are manifestations, just different things that we're using to reprogram the mind, hypnosis, quantum hypnosis, and clinical hypnosis, a combination of both. And once we reprogram the mind, then it's time to teach the client how to maintain. Now I've given you the keys to this brand new Jag, Ferrari, helicopter, jet, whatever it is. You got the keys. Now here's the gas you got to keep putting in it for it to continue to run. Here's the type of oil you need to use. Here are the techniques that you have to periodically use and employ every day to keep this mindset. The only person that can change what's been instilled in you is you. Mm-hmm. If you want to go in and rewrite the software and start eating potato chips and hot dogs again after I've changed your entire mindset and help you lose weight, if you want to reverse it and change all the programming, that's you. If you continue to do the things you were taught, you'll lose the weight and you will lose the taste for bread. You'll lose the taste for pizza and hot dog, all that stuff. You'll lose it. And this is practical advice, but this is how all the work that I've done. And Empowered by Consciousness is a best-selling book. All the work that I've done with with these modalities, I've written about it, and I've moved all of that into now coaching programs, and that's how in hypnosis programs. So this is how I use these concepts, and it's been absolutely fabulous.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Um, how do you see how do you see the field of personal development evolving in the coming years?
Say it one more time.
How do you see the field of personal development evolving in the coming years?
Oh, it's going to be moving away from talk therapy. I think personal development is you're going to start seeing more people understand how to use spiritual modalities on themselves. And I think talk therapy can only go so far. And when I say talk therapy, I mean, going to see someone and counseling and, asking, how are you today? Why do you feel that way? Well, what did that make you? How did that make you feel when your mom slammed the door? What are you feeling right now? That only goes so far. And I think that personal development is going to be more geared towards people understanding how to heal themselves, people understanding how to come to a self-realization of where the problem is. They're going to be using more mindfulness techniques. They're going to be using more self-induced hypnosis techniques. They'll be using more meditation techniques to isolate the trauma and to mentally remove it. And I think that self-development and personal development will move more towards using spiritual modalities and less towards talk therapy. I'm not saying talk therapy is not good. I'm just saying that it can only go so far. And when you help a person tap into the essence of themselves, then they're able to take their therapy, take their development to another level.
Awesome. Awesome. So, what role do community and support systems play in individual growth and transformation?
Well, it just depends. The construct that we live in the Western culture, organizations and community development, that's all based on a system. You know, uh,
Mhm.
alcohol abuse program, mental illness programs. That's the role that the community plays, is to put these programs together based on government funding and things like that. So you know the role that they play is to try to have these programs there for people who need them, to help people that maybe are formerly incarcerated. I have 3 new ebooks I just wrote. Um, and 2 of them are about the formerly incarcerated, and one's called the Mental Game Plan. It's a comprehensive guide for mental training for coaches and athletes. But that's what the community can do, is put things in place to help people develop. You know, in solo entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, is to start to speak um, in unison, and work with people so that they can experience different levels of change, different levels of successes. So the community involvement is key, but it's going to take more than that. It's going to take also the people who are seeking this information or seeking this type of help. They're going to have to self-realize that they need this help. And us, we don't take care of our mind, but we'll take care of our hair, we'll take care of our nails, we'll take care of this new car, we'll take care of going to the gym and getting pumped up, but we don't take care of the mind. Oh, that boy just crazy. Oh, she just act like her daddy. She is just like her daddy. She talking crazy. Sometimes people have problems, Will,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you just can't dismiss. As a community, we can't dismiss this because there these stigmas around sitting down and talking to somebody, or having someone help you develop a new mindset. We have to start to take care of our minds. And how do we get them to perform at a high level? And I wish that a lot of our folks, would understand that. You know, it, I'm gonna tell you this: there are a huge segment like the white community. They really, really take time to understand mindset and to understand how things affect them. It's and there's no the education is out there for both.
Yes.
We just have to look at where we are and is it acceptable. But we talked about this earlier. Consciousness and creating your reality. That's what we see. We don't think it's anything different. When there's so much else out there, Will, it's so much else out there, and we have to grab a hold to our dreams, to our goals, and know that nobody can get in the way of them. Yeah.
Awesome. Man, time has flown by.
No, we can talk forever.
This has been amazing. But now is the part of the show where you get the solo screen and you get to plug away, let people know where they can get the new ebooks, everything.
You can go to jasonmedlock.com, www.jasonmedlock.com. And the book Empowered by Consciousness, it was a bestseller, and that book just totally helps you understand spiritual modalities, and it demystifies all of those woo-woo feelings about what is hypnosis and what is this other stuff. No, these things help you grow. They help you develop into whatever it is you're looking to be. And I have 3 ebooks. They're very nominal price. And these ebooks, one is for coaches and athletes, and the other 2 are for the formerly incarcerated, and if you have a loved one that's incorporated. And I'm just giving techniques on how to deal with it, how to cope with being incarcerated, and some of the things you can do to keep the mindset and keep your mind intact. And when you're out, strategies, on how to have a resilient mindset coming into back into society. We don't want to be caught up in recidivism. My brother was caught up in recidivism, and it was due to drug use, and he found himself looping back into the system. So I thought about I should write a book focused on changing the subconscious mind, changing the mind, and helping the formerly incarcerated. But go to my website. I have free audio there, hypnosis, self-hypnosis audio. And the thing that I want to leave you with and leave your audience with on everything we talked about today is trust, relax, and discover. And thank you very much, Will, for having me on your show.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you for being a guest, man. I greatly appreciate you coming on. This,
Yes,
like I said, time flies. I usually do 35, 45 minutes. We're going through on an hour. So that's awesome. I love when we can have a conversation and not realize that time has flown by.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I've had that happen to me, and sometimes you have certain people on, you just gotta let them go.
Oh yeah, no, and those are conversations. Those are conversations I love where you set up for a certain amount of time, and it just goes beyond that, and you're able to share the nuggets that you have. It's phenomenal to be able to have these conversations, man.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on too.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being a guest. You were supposed to be on in January, but things happened. I think your son had a coaching. He had to go a recruitment trip.
Yeah, he got in the doggone transfer portal.
Oh, awesome.
And then he didn't know when the trip was going to be set until the last minute. I'm like, oh man, I got to cancel this meeting, and that's what happened.
It's all good, man. It was meant to happen today. It was meant to happen today. Thank you, brother, man. It was great. Don't leave just yet.
All right.
I'm gonna close out the show. We chat a little bit off air, but thank you so much, man. This was a great conversation.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Drew Willingham, thank you for stopping by, brother. Greatly appreciate it. What's going on, Marcus? How you doing? My brother Cool McCain, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Mickey, thank you for stopping by, sharing your support. Appreciate it, man. Thank you all for always tuning in and supporting. If you're gonna catch the replay, share, like, subscribe. This was a great conversation, so definitely share this episode. If you catch the replay, I would greatly appreciate it, man. This is a great interview, man. Time really does fly when you're having such a great time. So let's close this out, man. Shout out to my Real Wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J, love you guys. Shout out to the boss lady, love you and appreciate you, babe. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless y'all. Be safe. You know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.